Good morning, everybody, or good evening for me. It's about 5:10 on Wednesday evening. I'm just about to head home, but I thought I'd record my assembly before I went today. And today's assembly, I had a new theme planned about people who inspire us, but then someone inspired me today. So I am going to read you a story, and if you are in year 3, 4, 5 or 6, you will remember this story because we've had it before. It's a very important one with a very important message. But I was reminded and inspired today by Harriet in year 1, who excitedly came to show me this storybook that she'd brought into school. Ah, yes. Do you remember it? Have you filled a bucket today? A guide to happiness. And if you remember, and Harriet, you were in reception, so you won't remember this. I think it was last year. It might have been the year before, the last time that we had this story. And we talked a lot about how everybody had an imaginary bucket inside them that could be filled up or made empty, depending on what other people did and said. And I'm so glad, Harriet, I don't know who bought you it or whether you've bought it, that somebody has bought this for you, because it's such an important message. So important that I'm going to read it again. Here we go. All day long, everyone in the whole wide world walks around carrying an invisible bucket. I bet you didn't realise that you carried an invisible bucket all day long, every single day. You can't see it, but it's there. You have a bucket, and every member of your family has a bucket. There they all are. And if you're at home, you need to think about this with the buckets of the people that you live with. Your grandparents, your friends, and your neighbours, they all have buckets. Everyone carries an invisible bucket. And your bucket has one purpose only. Its purpose is to hold your good thoughts and good feelings about yourself. That's what the bucket does. You feel happy and good when your bucket is full, and you feel sad and lonely when your bucket is empty. I hope we all feel like we've got full buckets today, and that we're feeling happiness and lots of good feelings about ourselves. And other people feel the same way too. They're happy when their buckets are full, and they're sad when their buckets are empty. It's great to have a full bucket, and this is how it works. Other people can fill your bucket, and you can fill theirs. You can fill your own bucket too. So, how do you fill a bucket? You fill a bucket of someone else when you show love to someone, when you say or do something kind, or even when you give someone a smile. That's being a bucket filler. So whether you're at home or at school, think about whose bucket you could fill today, right now, today. It could be, if you're in school, it could be the other children in the class. You could do something kind and nice for them. It could be, if you're in school children, you could fill your teacher's bucket today. You could say how much you've enjoyed a lesson. Give them a compliment. Say something nice. And if you're at home, think about the people that are at home with you. How could you fill their buckets? Could you thank them for helping you with your learning? Because that's not easy, not when they've got so much else to do. Could you say something nice? Could you just give your mum or whoever a cuddle? That would be really lovely, and that helps to fill their bucket as well. Every time you show love to somebody, that helps to keep their bucket full. A bucket filler is a loving, caring person who says and does nice things to make other people feel special. When you treat others with kindness and respect, you fill their bucket. But, I hope we don't do this, you can also dip into a bucket and take out some good feelings. You dip into someone else's bucket every time you make fun of someone, when you say or do mean things, and even when you ignore someone. That's bucket dipping. Bullying is bucket dipping. When you hurt others, you dip into their bucket, and you'll dip also into your own bucket as well. That's an interesting thought. Many people who dip into others' buckets have an empty bucket themselves. They think that maybe they can fill their own bucket by dipping into someone else's. that will never work. You never fill your own bucket when you dip into someone else's. But here's the amazing thing. Guess what? When you fill someone else's bucket, you fill your own bucket as well. So it feels really, really good to be lovely to somebody else. You're filling up your bucket and theirs at the same time. You feel good when you help others feel good. All day long, we're either filling up or dipping into each other's buckets by what we say and what we do. Try to fill a bucket and see what happens. You love your mum and dad or whoever's at home. Why not tell them you love them? You can even tell them why. Your caring words will fill their buckets with joy. Watch for smiles on their faces. You'll feel like smiling too. A smile is a good clue that you've filled a bucket. And if you practice, you'll become a great bucket filler. So just remember, everybody, that everybody carries an invisible bucket, and think of what you can say or do to fill it. Well, Harriet, I'm so glad you brought this story in. I'd forgotten just how good it is. And for ages, we kind of went around. I can remember children like Holly, who's in year 4 now, talking about every time that she'd filled somebody else's bucket, and she was really good at becoming a bucket filler. And we talked about that a lot, and I think we've just forgotten about it. So Harriet, thanks so much for bringing that back. Let's share all those times when we are bucket fillers, and never dip from somebody else's bucket. That's what we've learned today. So thanks for today's learning, Harriet. What a great assembly from you. Thanks, everybody. See you later. Bye-bye.